everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. Joining me live via satellite, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am over here in quarantine corner.
Oh man,
not virus related, not with the corona. Sinus infection. Hang on one sec. Computer. Stop. All right.
Oh my God, did that really work?
Yeah.
Holy shit! All right.
I call my Alexa device computer. So
that's hilarious.
Anyway, yeah. So I am coming to you live from our ranch here in the Runnymede because I've got a sinus infection. Got the fucking vaporizer going over here. Medicated. Yeah, I wish it was that kind of vaporizer. Yeah. So we're doing it. We're doing it live.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming you don't have flu-like symptoms. It's not the COVID. So
nope, I've been getting my temperature taken. The wife has been all over me about that stuff. This is strictly sinus infection related.
But that being the case, I told you earlier today, just because the fact that you have any kind of sickness, there's no way in hell Kristen was going to let you anywhere near this house to begin with. So we are doing remote recording. Hopefully it all works out. But in the meantime, want to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons: Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, Shotgun Mark, and Avery Morgan. Thank you so very much for all your support. You are the reason why we do this, and you are the reason why I am talking on this brand new microphone. You can see it if you're watching the live YouTube feed. So thank you. Everything you give goes right back into the show. We got a whole bunch of new hardware. Hopefully this all works out. And
if it's not working out, you got to please tell us.
Yeah.
So that we can fix it and make it better.
Right.
I forgot that after we did our test recording, I rebooted everything because during the test recording, I had a lot of different stuff open, like Star Wars Old Republic and some other things. And yeah, so I just shut everything down, give it a good cold boot so that we were fresh for the episode. There we go. Then I got the notes back up.
And apparently I sound soft.
Well,
I don't know what the
you
hell.
You are soft. Not as soft as I am. I mean,
I'm myself up for that one.
Yeah. I'm squishy like, Pillsbury Doughboy soft. You're just soft.
It's fucked up, man. Anyway, so what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to talk about what's it called? The Maestro's finale.
Yes.
So from the Rise of Skywalker extra footage or additional features, how you doing? We're going to give our thoughts on that because obviously we have strong feelings for John Williams.
Oh yeah,
if you could hear it in the background during our 30-second silence. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
and we're also going to cover the latest episodes of the Clone Wars, which might as well be titled "On the Doorstep to Hopefully Something Better."
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we've got all that stuff to talk about, but in the meantime, we got a few other things to take care of. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to my mom, Debbie Arvizu, who, I haven't talked about her in a while, but she's recovering from a pretty serious illness, but she's doing well, and she actually bought a new house out kind of in the boonies of California, and she's been out there. It's like in the middle of fucking nowhere in a very, very small town, population like 100 people.
Wow.
Which for right now, for this whole fucking coronavirus shit is perfect.
Yeah.
Because she's been out there this whole time getting this house fixed up, getting ready to move in. And she hasn't been watching the show because normally she does watch the show on YouTube. But because she hasn't been near an internet connection, she hasn't. But she said this weekend she was going to start getting caught up. So, Mom, if you're watching, hello. I love you. And happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Jason's mom.
Yes.
And where do you get the internet out in the sticks like that? I mean, you're not going to have a FiOS-like connection out there. I mean, is it satellite based? Would it be coming live via satellite?
I don't think it would be that kind. I mean, it's It's like on the far outskirts of Bakersfield. It's like this little town. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want any stalkers going out there, but
fair enough.
Yeah, it's this little town outside of Bakersfield, and it's I'm sure they have some sort of internet connection. It's probably like shitty Verizon DSL or something like that. But
oh god, DSL was huge back in 1999.
Yes, it was. Not so much today, but anyway, just wanted to give my mom a big shout out. Also, got to say, rest in peace to two Star Wars kind of veteran actors. We've got Andrew Jack and Jay Benedict, both who have passed from the COVID-19 over the past week or two. Andrew Jack, he was in Force Awakens and Last Jedi. He was like a bit player, like a background character as part of the Resistance. We all kind of knew about that, but Jay Benedict, he was in a scene that got cut out of A New Hope. He was Luke's best friend, Deke, I think it was. In that whole scene, I don't know. I'm sure you've seen it, Dave. The scene where it's like him and fucking Biggs talking, where Luke fucking sees the Star Destroyer battle through his little binoculars.
Well, yeah, because they're like at the cantina or wherever, and they're busting Luke's balls, and then that's when the wormy thing happens, and then he goes outside. He's having a conversation with Biggs. You know, the whole thing.
So one of his friends from that guy who never made it into the final cut of the movie, that actor just passed a couple of days ago from, again, COVID-19. So taking tolls on the Star Wars universe, even though it's smaller players, you know, they're still human beings who had lives and families and everything else. So
exactly. Yeah, especially that's one thing in this day with all the stuff going on, you know, with people passing, you know, either because of the virus or just because at the time when this virus is happening, well, there's going to be a lot of funerals that are going to have to be memorial services that are going to happen later on, so people can get together and grieve properly. You know, it's not. I had to deal with that a lot last year when I was master of my lodge. You know, dealing with the bereaved and those types of details, and I can tell you that it's very, very challenging right now, and I feel for any family that has to go through that. Excuse me, inappropriate burping time.
Yep.
There's another one. Good job.
By the way, Kristen has been making a lot of comments over the last 2 weeks about how much you burp and how loud you burp on the show. So,
nice. Well, it's like I'm trying to develop my Rick and Morty style, like just inappropriate burping, like burping, talking through the burp. That's what I'm trying to master. So I'm working on it. This stuff right here, you know, the diet of Cokes is what, especially out of a can, all the burping. It's what it is. It's a can of fucking gaseous liquid.
Yeah, pretty much all diet sodas like that for some reason. It really like the super carbonation and everything really makes you belch a lot. But
yeah, it might have something to do with the sheer volume of how much I actually drink it.
I'm sure that contributes. So
yeah. Can you hear the dog yipping in the background?
I thought I heard something, but it's not like overpowering.
All right. If it's distracting, let me know, because our older dog, you know, she's 13, right? She's ornery, to say the least. So she's like, I drank my water because we have to keep the water outside because she's a little incontinent. So like she's out there and now she's like, I'm ready to come inside. So she does this like really, really annoying bark that means I'm probably gonna have to go off headset for a moment to go let her in so that it doesn't drive me crazy. So
oh my God. I just actually heard like a weird dog noise outside of my fucking house too, like something coming from my backyard, like a fucking like a wolf howl or something.
He's in the house.
Oh my God. Anyway, take care of your thing. I'll keep this oh my God, keep this momentum going. See, now you would be seeing this live if you if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you would see Dave try to monkey fuck his way out of his computer desk, getting tangled up in cords and everything else. But in the meantime, oh God, that was just too funny. So I talked about this last episode that games that I play, like World of Warcraft, we're doing 100% experience boost for for the people who were kind of stuck at home doing nothing, either people who are laid off, on furlough, teleworking, whatnot, to kind of help pass the time. So Star Wars The Old Republic, they're a little bit late to the game, but they're finally getting there. And they just announced that they are doing a double experience month. So from April 14th to May 12th, if you play Star Wars The Old Republic, you will get double experience. I think it's also like double earned currency and everything else from within the game. So if you are an Old Republic player, or if you had ever considered going to play the Old Republic, this would actually be a really good time to do so, starting again on the 12th, which is today. So yeah, because we're recording this on Sunday, April 12th. Happy Easter, everyone. Yeah, so go check it out. It's free to play. Obviously, they have a subscription. If you want some of the more pain in the ass restrictions taken away, it's they got to make their money somehow, right?
It's so difficult to get into playing that. You'd figure, as much as I'm sitting in front of the computer right now, that I'd have all the time in the world to play that. Could have it open in a window while I'm doing work shit. I'm so fucking busy, and I couldn't even tell you like what am I getting with my double XP. I have no idea how to spend any of that currency, as you well know.
Right.
Having sat next to me to try and help me level up, and actually like, wow, that works a lot better when you actually spend some of this currency. So
sure. And those types of games, I mean, it really takes not a special kind of person, but it's a special kind of game that if you're not into that style of game, then you're never going to be.
Yeah, so, it's the long game, and it is. And I appreciate Star Wars having a game like that, where it's so playable for the long game.
Yeah.
And I will always have it on my computer as an option to play. But maybe with get some ADHD medication, and maybe I'll be like, oh, I can play that now.
Well, hey, kick me some of that if you ever get it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's really all I had for Star Wars news. I mean, there's some other shit kind of going on, like Daisy Ridley talking about fan reaction to the Rise of Skywalker, and I don't know. I know there's a big online fucking presence that just wants to trash this fucking movie. Nobody I've talked to, no real human being has disliked Rise of Skywalker. So it's a real shame that this kind of stuff is reached people like Daisy Ridley and some of these other actors and directors from the Star Wars universe. I don't know. Personally, I thought it was fucking great. And we'll get into it when we actually get into the home video release, because I have some more things to say about that. But yeah.
People are struggling with the whole Last Jedi, like how it seemed to go in a direction that a lot of people that are based on the internet wanted it to go. And then when J.J. Abrams took it back over and had to basically do the walk back, there's a lot of people didn't like that. I talked about it before, but what I find interesting about the backlash towards Rise of Skywalker, it's so much more about the sequel trilogy in general, not just the one movie. It's not about just Rise of Skywalker. There's people that are like, oh, the sequel trilogy is trash, and I find that to be hilarious. That all right, you're going to group. It's three very, very different movies, even though two of them were by the same director. I think you're to lump them all together is tragic, honestly. And it's some people don't deserve to have opinions,
right? And I think that's going to lend itself to a future episode where we kind of look at the sequel trilogy as a whole, because I think now that Rise of Skywalker's been out for a while, and now that we can like digest it at will, I think there's a lot of stuff to be gleaned from this entire trilogy as a whole. But something that did actually come out over the last couple of weeks since the last time we recorded was the Rise of Skywalker Honest trailer. Did you see that?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh my God. Well,
I got the notification. I just haven't had the chance to watch it.
All right. I'll spoil one part for you, because this is the very beginning, and it says, coming to theaters, the sequel to The Force Awakens, which is, a good way to describe it, because, it really is JJ just kind of continuing with what he was doing in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
not retconning Last Jedi, but just continuing what he was doing with Force Awakens.
Well, and why wouldn't it be that way? I mean, that was his movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and it was the honest trailer was really good. I'm shocked you haven't seen it yet. You should really go and watch it.
Dude, I've been so fucking. Sidebar. I think I've said it both the episodes that we've done since we started self-isolation or whatever, but I am so fucking busy with all the if there's been no rest period. Right. I don't know if that's why I'm sick or well, no, I know why I'm sick. It's more of an allergies turn whatever, but it's just one of those things where everyone's talking about being bored, and I haven't had time. I want to play more video games. I want to fucking, do other shit and do projects and stuff like that. But I've got schoolwork and lodge and work.
Yeah.
It's fuck me. Yeah, I'd rather be in a position.
The military, they're going to get their money's worth out of us one way or the other.
What the fuck, man?
Oh yeah, no, I've been going through the same thing.
Yeah. So it's yeah, give me that extra time. I would love to have it. And again, I said it before, there's a lot of people that are worse off that need the stimulus so they can fucking make sure that they don't fall in this huge hole. And I get that. I totally. Oh yeah. But that being said, I'm fucking busy. And this is one of those things. I watched our Clone Wars episodes this morning, while I was on a screen while I had homework up that I've been trying to get done. So I'm looking forward to a slowdown a little bit, even if my body just suddenly just goes, nope, you're not gonna do shit for a couple days.
Yeah, and Bronco Fett mentions in the chat all these guys talking about being busy while he's he has nothing to do but do his action figure scenes and everything, which he's doing a lot of lately.
Yeah, he's going to develop that very, very well, and I hope that it's a success because I enjoy that type of thing.
Oh yeah, no, he does a great job. It's very entertaining seeing the way he sets stuff up with just a couple action figures and a good camera angle and everything else.
So I rearranged my Star Wars. Used to be a column of Star Wars-ness that was over here next to my desk, and we're doing some things down here in the family room. And so I rearranged some stuff. So there's still some Star Wars stuff out, but a lot of that stuff was taken down, which was going to lead towards a big reveal of things in the studio today, which obviously didn't happen because I'm not in the studio. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I have a couple of the action figures. If you want to get your little dick beaters on these, and yeah, they're so cool.
Once you recover from your COVID diagnosis and everything, then I'll come over and I'll touch your action figures.
Well, I'll bring them over. I'll bring them to the studio. We can play with them. See, I got the unboxed Black Series guys.
Nice. That's what I want to do so bad. All these Black Series figures you can see over here. Oh, yeah. I want to just rip them out of their fucking packages and just play with them, but no, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna keep them in their packages.
You can't do it. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Double XP weekend for the other. Really, no other news to speak of. There's always clickbaity shit, which we're not even going to acknowledge. If it's not on StarWars.com, then it's not real. Are you ready to move right into our weeks?
Sure.
Okay, so for me, what day is it? I don't fucking know because it's Monday.
Groundhog Day.
Yes, it's Groundhog Day. It's the same fucking thing over and over again. Even though we're teleworking and everything else. It's Jesus, man. It one day blends into the next. And I think your comment on my video on Thursday was perfect because you're I could have sworn I commented on this already, but I guess not. And it's that was the whole point because I've been posting that Groundhog Day video every single day for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and finally I looked at it, I'm like, oh man, I thought I already did that today.
Right.
Legit, I had just moment of what fucking day is it?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are. Even though, like you said, we're still teleworking and doing what we do. It's the days are just blending in and it's, I don't know, fucking up from down, left from right anymore. It's if you're looking at me on the YouTube stream, I've got a pretty good, it's kind of hard to see, but I got a pretty good 2 week scruff going on. So Yeah, man, it's just weird times. Very, very strange.
It is strange. You can't. There's these momentary feelings of just what the fuck is happening. Like I felt this a little bit before when I was retired, where I wasn't working at all.
Right.
And I mean, the funny part about that is though I had more like time to go do shit. And that's the thing, like even though you have all this time, you can only go do so much because things are closed. Like even the parks and shit are closed. So it's like very, very strange. Or it's like telling an American that they can't do something. Like it really gets America at full froth, you know?
Oh yeah, my father is a perfect example of this. Like he is raging right now because, of course, he's out in California too. He's a hardcore, like far right Republican, and he lives in California, which is an oxymoron in itself.
Right.
But you know, when this whole thing started and they're having these stay-at-home orders and everything else, he's like, I shouldn't have to fucking stay at home. I shouldn't have to fucking wear a mask when I leave the house. And oh man, he's losing his goddamn mind right now.
Well, and that's the thing. It's I don't want to COVID it up all of a sudden, but there's very there's the people that throw up the numbers and say like, well, here's the percent, here's the population, and then here's how many people have died.
Right.
I'm like, okay, like, at what point do you say that that's okay? Like, yes, ordinarily, I would not look at how many people died within this time frame, within let's say a month.
Right.
This
because
is how many
die
people
every day. You know?
And whether it's from like they contracted a virus that contributed to their death, or they had an existing condition that getting that virus contributed to their early demise, who the fuck cares? The reality is that this is something that this disbursement method is unprecedented.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're tracking this at this scope and scale has to tell you that it's not the government just wanting to fucking shut everything down. Right. Businesses don't want to lose billions and billions of dollars a day. They don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and what's really funny is all the, you know what, I'm not even going to get into it, but
well, okay. I do want to say one thing. I don't know if this is where you were going to go, but if you think that 5G cell phone service is causing the coronavirus, you are a fucking moron. You and the flat earthers need to just go and walk over the side of the earth and just fucking plummet into nothing.
Yeah, let's go find them a fucking hill to die on.
Fucking Jesus, man. This thing has picked up so much momentum. This whole 5G is causing or is making you susceptible to the fucking coronavirus. Oh my God. Like, people are so fucking retarded.
I agree. I saw the memes for it and I was like, I mean, is this really a thing? And then the more I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is really a thing.
Yeah.
Are you? I swear to God, my dog is going to bust in the window. Do you hear that? Do you hear that scratching? Yeah. I've replaced that glass once already.
Because of the dog?
Because of her like punching through it. Like she's like, when she wants to get inside, like that's all that can happen. So I'm going to get off headset yet again.
All right. Well, while he's doing that, I'll continue on with my week. Something else that kind of happened for the first time this year is we didn't really have an Easter celebration at my house. My kids are all now in middle school and high school, and this is the first year we didn't do some sort of Easter baskets, Easter egg hunt, anything like that, because at this point the kids, they're all too old. Like, and I'll admit, Easter was never my favorite holiday. In fact, Easter was probably my least favorite holiday as a kid growing up, because my parents would always make me dress up in like fucking button up, like nice shirts and fucking slacks and all that. And in April in California, it's already like 90 fucking degrees outside. So I'm hot, I'm miserable in these fucking Easter clothes. My parents would make me go to church, and it was just a miserable day for me. But I did not let that affect my kids' enjoyment of Easter growing up. So, we still do the egg hunts and everything every year until this year because, my youngest son just started middle school and we finally decided it's like, you know what? I think we're past this at this point. No more Easter baskets, no more egg hunts. Sorry, Mom. My mom in California is very upset that we stopped doing this, by the way. And she said anytime they come to California, she doesn't care how old they are, they're still going to do it, which is fine. But for us in New Jersey, the Easter celebration is over. I mean, we can kind of talk about the origins and, get into some of that stuff. But when it comes to the actual, the celebration, like the shit for the kids, the eggs hunts, the candy and all that, that's pretty much done in the Roscom household starting this year. So it's just the kids are too old. And like I remember being in middle school and my family still did it because I had two younger siblings and me just thinking like, oh my God, this is so fucking dumb. So
at what point it's when you have to do that, am I lying to my kids for their benefit or for mine? And then do you feel guilty about it? Like they're going to have trust issues if I let this go too long.
Right. And I think especially with Easter, like we kind of like didn't let the cat out of the bag for Christmas until they figured it out themselves. But for Easter, we never like played it like, oh, the Easter bunny came and he left all these eggs and stuff in our backyard. We never really did that. We just said, hey, we hid a whole bunch of shit in the backyard. There's 3 eggs that all have money in them. Go have fun. So, but yeah, that's all over now. And of course, my oldest is upset because he doesn't get, money every year now. But it's like, all right, get over it.
I mean, he could still get money, I guess.
Oh, yeah, but he's got to work for it now. But so yeah, that's that. We've kind of shit-canned Easter celebration from here on out. Besides that, for me, it's been all about the fitness. I know I've talked about this the last couple episodes. Despite the fact that we're all quarantined, I'm still working out or running every single day. So 6 days a week. I always take 1 day off during the week because you got to let your body rest. But I'm either lifting weights or I'm fucking running. And I've almost hit my April goal already. So I know I talked about how I was looking to run 50 miles in the month of April. Well, I'm already like 30 miles into that goal, and we're not even at the halfway point. So I think I'm going to make it.
Yeah, I don't think you have a problem. You better knock on some wood, though. God forbid if you had a blowout with your ankle or some shit.
I have had knee problems in the past when I've tried to do these like long distance monthly running goals to where I get to like, 3/4 of the way through, and all of a sudden my left knee like becomes like 5 times the size. So, so that's that. Anyway, I think that's everything for me and my week. What about you, Dave?
Sick, school, sick. That's it. And work. I mean, honestly, it is Groundhog Day. It is legit Groundhog Day. And I don't know how people. Here's the thing. So I'm doing online school, right?
Yep.
These classes were scheduled to be online regardless, right? They're 9 weeks
before the virus and everything else.
Before any of that bullshit.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, the professors are the one guy. He works for the FAA, and he's rolling right along. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm at home, and this is what the FAA is doing, and here's class. Go. All right, cool. And the other guy we don't interact with at all. I mean, it's a straight online class.
Right.
So it's really, there's times when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to like power through some schoolwork, and the moment like hits you, like this is the enormity of what's going on in the world right now. That reality we were kind of alluding to earlier that like suddenly like slams me in the fucking face. And I'm like, I get it that I'm already doing an online class, but why don't we take a moment and fucking acknowledge the fact that we're living in extraordinary times and give people a fucking break, pretending like there's nothing going on, no matter how you feel about it, does not benefit anybody. And I know for me, I'm very conscious of that. Now I'm like, all right, how many other kids in this class Some of them are out of work, and maybe this is great for them. And some of them, it's stressful. It's fucking stressful. What's going on right now? And I just, it pisses me off that I feel the weight of these deadlines for an online school. Now, there's a lot of people that were forced into online schooling. Their curriculums weren't developed for that, and they have to make adjustments. And I get it. I was in an online class regardless, but I at some point you have to stop pretending that everything is normal, because it's not. Everyone's lives have changed in some sort of way. Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel well, so I'm gonna ramble until somebody says something else. Hey, Jason, don't forget, you can highlight with this StreamYard how you doing that we're doing. You can highlight somebody's comment and display it on the thing.
Hold on, let me try to do that. Oh, like that?
Just like that. Did you do that before?
No, I didn't realize I could do that.
All right,
but yes, Scott in the chat said, if you haven't remembered to smash that like button, this is the way.
This is the way.
So thank you, Scott. Anyway, and by the way, go and listen to the Used and Abused podcast, which we forgot to totally pimp. And we forgot to pimp fucking the Escape Pod guys, who they built a brand new studio from fucking scratch for their show. So huge prop to those guys.
They're doing good things. I'm a little disappointed in the somebody's destroying one of their uniform items and making it unserviceable. I don't know if you're seeing the painting of the bucket that's happening, but you have now made that an unserviceable part of your uniform, so it's not fit for wear.
Yeah.
Because I know what's happening next. Everyone knows what's happening next, Don.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, all right. Is that all for your week?
I don't. Did I say something? Yes. That's it. I don't have nothing exciting. Honestly, I could talk to you about the effect of a bank angle and load factor on stall boundary speeds. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? I didn't think so.
No. And got to remember that Bronco Fett and his brother Matt also are working on a new potential show. So keep your ears open for that, because if you see in the audio stream a new podcast pop up, that could be the Brothers Jensen. What the fuck? Why do I hear myself through your fucking
Because you're finally talking loud enough to do it.
Finally kicked in my big boy voice.
Yeah, you got close enough to the mic where it works. I didn't change anything.
Anyway, so one of the main topics we wanted to talk about today was the home video release of the Rise of Skywalker. So I know we've kind of hinted about it. The digital came out like 3 weeks ago now, but the Blu-ray and the UHD and all that stuff just came out fucking last week. I don't know. Anyway, so we've gotten our hands on it. I got my Steelbook 4K UHD from Best Buy. Despite the fact that Best Buy is closed, they still do the curbside pickup. Kristen was gracious enough to go there and sit through that whole ordeal to try to get that from them. And here's a question for you. Movies Anywhere. Did you know what that was before I showed you the way?
No.
So if you remember, over the last, 10 years or so, in addition to Apple doing, being able to do digital copies through Apple, there have been a fucking billion other fucking digital movie distribution services. I don't know if you remember the Violet. That was what Warner Brothers was distributing all of their movies through. There was Apple, there was a couple other companies, Amazon Prime, a bunch of other companies that you could buy digital movies from. And then also when a Blu-ray came out and it had a copy of a digital, a code for a digital copy of the movie, you could redeem it through whichever service. Some of them let you redeem it through all of the services. Some were exclusive to either this Violet or fucking iTunes or whatever.
I have seen that in different digital downloads besides the iTunes. I know I've seen Violet as one of them.
Right. Well, I think they've gone under. But
Probably.
now they've all consolidated into this Movies Anywhere, it seems like, where you can upload your account for both iTunes, fucking Amazon Prime, and all this. And all of these movies that you get these digital copies of, they all come into this one web-based fucking streaming service. And it's called Movies Anywhere. And that's where I redeemed Rise of Skywalker. We redeemed it through iTunes. But then you can link your iTunes account to this Movies Anywhere. And it's just, you load up any web browser. It doesn't matter what fucking OS you're on. I loaded it up on my Windows. My wife loaded it up on her fucking Mac. My son loaded it up on his Chromebook. And you can just watch all the movies that you've bought that you have these digital copies for. And it's fucking great. And it's just like iTunes. It's got all the extras on there and whatnot. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to that. If you haven't merged all of your accounts into a Movies Anywhere account, do it. Make the sacrifice because it's worth it. It's because
what's in it for them, though?
Because it's all web-based, as opposed to having to pull up fucking iTunes either through a fucking application on your desktop.
No. You don't have to sell me why I, as an individual user, would want to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about what is Movies Anywhere getting from this? Are they getting through is there ads? Is there some sort of...
I haven't seen any ads. Well, I know you can buy movies directly through them. Okay. So, they're selling fucking Bad Boys 2. That's their big featured thing right now. I noticed when I went to their website, or Bad Boys 3, whatever the newest Bad Boys.
I was going to say Bad Boys 2's been out for a minute.
Whatever that new one was, where now Martin Lawrence is all fat and Will Smith is still Will Smith. But anyway, they still sell movies directly through Movies Anywhere. I would imagine it's probably one of these conglomerations of it's co-owned by fucking Disney and Sony and fucking MGM or some shit. But either way, it's great for us, the consumers, and I guess they're getting something out of it. But
they got to be getting something out of it. I'm just curious as to what. Yeah, that's one of those where I'd probably, before I did anything, I'd really read the EULA. Just to see what are you data mining or whatever? Because honestly, for the convenience, I'd let them data mine the shit out of it. Whatever. What the fuck are you gonna get? Right?
Yeah.
So
and Lunar Girl is saying in the chat that she doesn't get any ads either. So
weird. Yeah. I don't know. That'd be worth looking into.
Movies Anywhere is great. That's where I've been watching a majority of Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, when the UHD and everything else came out, man. There's a bunch of extras on the Rise of Skywalker, and I know we're going to get to the Maestro's finale, but there were a few others that really kind of caught my eye too. The Skywalker Legacy is a 2+ hour long thing, and it's mostly focusing on Rise of Skywalker, but they're using a ton of behind the scenes footage from pretty much every movie in the Skywalker saga up to this point, and they're using it to kind of explain how they came to where they did with portions of Rise of Skywalker. There's parts where they talk about Ian McDiarmid coming back as the Emperor, and JJ was like, somebody had pitched the idea of bringing the Emperor back, and I immediately grasped onto that and said, yes, this is what we need to do, because my favorite fucking scene in the entire saga was him at the fucking opera scene with the Palpatine and Anakin telling the story about telling the story about Darth Plagueis and everything else. But
and now there's no audio.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm trying to get caught up on the chat. Do I sound weird? Am I sounding?
So there's definitely there's some in and outs with the sound where you're popping hard.
Oh, well, I took off the pop filter, so because somebody said I sounded really quiet, so I took that off to, hopefully I sounded better, but all right, I'll put the pop filter back on.
Look,
it's a work in progress, people.
Pop filters work, apparently.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Skywalker Legacy
glass of white wine.
It's a really, really good documentary if you had the fucking 2 hours to sit there and watch it. There's also Warwick and Son, which talks about Warwick Davis coming back to play Wicket with his son, his actual son, who, by the way, is named Harrison.
That's great.
Yeah, there's no fucking way he wasn't named after Harrison fucking Ford.
Yeah, that might be the most obvious thing you've ever said.
Right, and his son was that other Ewok that was standing there with Wicket at the end of Rise of Skywalker, who, come to find out, based on the novel, was Wicket's son. So that was a pretty cool little family thing. I know you don't like Ewoks, but fucking most real people would actually get some enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Dio, the Key to the Past. That was also a really good look at like the making of Dio, and they actually get into some of the origins of Ochi. So if you want to see some of that, it's a short one. Like a lot of these are really short, like the Warwick and Son, the Dio Q to the Past. Those are like 5 minutes each. But the Skywalker Legacy, that's like 2 hours. And then, of course, the Maestro's finale is about 11 minutes. And before we talk the details of this one, I just want to say, if you haven't fucking watched it, for the love of God, go and watch it, because whatever we talk about for the next few minutes, it cannot possibly compare to, you know, the emotions and everything else that are thrown out there as part of this like mini documentary, this little behind the scenes of John Williams' final recording on Star Wars. Really, really good. Go watch it yourself and then come back and listen to this episode.
Yeah. Or yeah, do that. Do what he said. It's the reason to get this this disc, if not just for having, you know, get it digitally, get it however it is that you're going to get it, but get that, and then before you watch the movie, watch this extra. It's that important.
Yeah,
it's that important to the biggest feels. I mentioned it 1 or 2 pods ago. You know, my obsession with John Williams is just like, it's a daily, like there is John Williams playing most of the day.
Yeah,
you know, somewhere in the house, or you know, at this point in the house or in the car, and I was afraid to watch it. I was afraid to watch The Rise of Skywalker at home, because it really, to me, felt like, all right, here's how all these things come to pass, right? You go, you see something in the movie theater, then you wait for the release, right? You're late for the DVD release, right? For the soundtrack release and all that stuff. Because we came from a day and age where you waited a long fucking time.
Yeah, there was no like 2-month delay back in the day. It was like a year. Sometimes.
It is insane to me to have 3 months after the fucking release have this thing fucking digitally. It's, to me, it's fucking insane. But in that time frame is the anticipation of, okay, when I see this at home, that means that it's done. There's no other movie to me after this. There'll be Star Wars. There will always be Star Wars. But without John Williams scoring it, it's not going to be the same. It's just, it'll be different. I'm not saying it won't be good. Like Rogue One was good.
Yeah.
Solo was better than Rogue One in terms of the soundtrack. Dave Martin's opinion. But there's elements of both of those that still had John Williams elements in it. So it's like, hey, this kind of still has the Star Wars flavoring to it. But that's what it's going to be from this point forward. Anything we see coming out is going to be without John Williams. And to me, that's where the feels are. And to get to see the behind the scenes and actually see part of his process and what he was going through, and seeing the film cuts and how he did that. And for it was like 11 minutes and 20 seconds, something like that. It was really short.
It wasn't long, but like I told you when I first watched it, like I damn near came to tears multiple times while watching this fucking thing.
Yeah. There's going to be more. Unfortunately, like one of those things with John Williams is that you don't know you won't know how big of an impact he made in the movie industry until he's gone, type thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Excuse me. So I think that's going to be part of, going forward, the recognition of John Williams and his greatness is going to be left to probably what leads to his to his passing.
Yeah.
And then once he passes, and people fucking truly realize what this genius is, and the art of composing music.
Oh
right?
yeah.
This is what it is now. This is not, people are not taking in, they're not going to the theater and hearing original scores, and this is the scores that are going to last millennia.
Yeah.
What we have now in movies and things like this are people like John Williams, who are producing something that's going to tell stories forever.
Yeah, and we got into some of his process too in this documentary. Like I didn't realize, but every theme that he writes, everything that he does, he always starts with the piano. As soon as he gets a theme in his head, he sees a clip from the movie, he goes to his piano and he starts composing. And you really get a window into his method, like how he goes about conducting some of this stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that he's not letting it, like, he's not reading the script, he's not, he's getting inputs from the director, but for the most part, it's not until he sees what's there, and then decide what elements go into it. I think one of my favorite parts of that, again, spoiler alerts if you haven't watched it already, shame on you if you haven't, but when they're talking about that pivotal scene where Luke is raising Red 5 out of the fucking swamp. He said they went back to the original fucking, like, basically went back in The Empire Strikes Back and fucking got,
like the actual music sheets, the sheets that he fucking made for Empire Strikes Back.
That way they would be in the exact fucking key.
Yeah, like note for note.
Yep. It was a note for note remake. And if you don't get fucking goosebumps just even thinking about that, because of the intertwining just of that particular piece of music anyway, is just like, just
right. And I think we talked about this when we talked about Rise of Skywalker. That was one of the moments watching this movie in the theaters, especially the second time I watched it, where I damn near just like burst out into fucking tears when Luke's raising the X-Wing out of the water, and it's that exact fucking score from Empire Strikes Back, and it's like, oh my god. And like he mentioned it in this, like John Williams said, no, we have to do this note for note, and JJ was like, are you sure? Like JJ had reservations about it, and John Williams is like, no, we have to do this note for note based on this scene and the whole reach back to Empire Strikes Back.
It would not. They talked about they were talking about it being scored differently, and they knew right away that if they're going to do this, if they're going to have this moment, they had to use that music. They had to use the exact music because of the impact it would have. And they're 100% right. Even if I find somebody that truly has disliked the movie, disliked everything about it, and I go to them and say, okay, you look at that scene, you listen to that music, you tell me that you didn't get a little bit of movement, you didn't get some goose pimples there, right? Because what, they didn't play something from the fucking the prequels, like that, because those are the people who all right, we're gonna have a fun conversation right now about that. I don't know where we are for timing. We should have hacked the clock.
Whatever. It's fine. We're at the 49-minute mark right now.
So listen, I saw something that just pissed me straight off.
Really?
And it's this meme where it has the lightsaber battles, and it has lightsaber battles in everything before it has like before Disney buyout. And it has these lightsaber battles. And then suddenly with the Disney buyout, they're like, there's no great lightsaber battles. I'm like, motherfuckers, the original trilogy is that's my shit, right? That's my shit. And I will yield to the artistry of the saber battles that happen in the fucking prequels. Absolutely. Sure. But they're not even saying just the prequels. They're just saying everything before the sequel trilogy.
Right.
So much better, and then they're showing like the lightsaber battle, like the very last part of the lightsaber battle on the wreckage of the fucking DS2 And that doesn't have impact, motherfucker. The think of the lightsaber battle in New Hope. Fucking Obi-Wan goes out like a fucking bitch.
Right.
Like a couple. That's not a battle. You know, that was an old man fighting another old man in a goddamn suit. And that's what it looked like compared to what you saw in the fucking prequels. That's what it looked like. And yet somehow the sequel trilogy is the one they're shitting on right now for that. Go fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of shit where it tells me that you're part of that sensationalism. Like, I'm going to ride this train and find something to pick up on. Dude, shot for shot, best lightsaber battles are in the prequels. Hands down.
No doubt. But I tell you what, like the one in Rise of Skywalker, I think it told a better story. That last fight on the wreckage of the Death Star between Rey and Ben, you know, it painted the picture that it was a long, drawn-out fucking fight, but at the end of the day, Ben was more powerful than Rey at that point, right? And like she was fucking just worn the fuck down by the end of that fight.
It was
like,
in the
he had her dead to rights. Like she was fucking dead.
It was in the novelization too. They specifically mentioned in that part where Rey was using parts of the Force that she had never used before to make these huge leaps.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't something like she had been training for it, obviously running through the jungle and fucking jump, climb.
Right.
That shit. But she was doing those things. She never, like, in combat had done those things. And anybody who's ever been through some fucking shit knows that what you train for and what you actually face in real life is not the same fucking thing. Mm-hmm. When adrenaline's pumping and everything else, like, adrenaline will fucking tire you out quicker than anything at all. So as soon as that adrenaline starts wearing off, and now you're still up against somebody who still has their adrenaline hasn't kicked in because they haven't needed it yet.
Yeah.
You know, they're not fighting for their lives because they're in control of the battle. That's what happened there. She just fucking gassed out.
Right. Yeah. He just let her fucking punch herself tired. And then he just kind of kicked back, like laid on the ropes.
And that was a part, I don't know if we talked about it when we did the novelization, but it was something in the novelization that they talked about. They talked about how her fighting style, she knew when she started fighting him that she wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
You know, so she just did everything she could possibly do to get to that point. And ultimately, Leia is the one that distracted him enough for her to strike that blow.
Yep.
But saying all that, and you know, the memes and everything else, what I hate to think that somebody seriously is looking at the original trilogy and, you know, like, oh, the lightsaber battles are far superior than what was in Rise of Skywalker. We have to come to a realization as fans of this franchise that each one of these movies is different.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it's easy chronologically to group them in all right, this is a prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, whatever. But the reality is, especially the sequel trilogy, 3 completely different movies.
Sure.
The prequels probably were the most linear of all 3.
Yeah.
Because you saw, like, it picked up right where it left off, whereas with New Hope into Empire, it did a pretty good job of that. But then there's like just indeterminate amount of time that fucking Han's in carbonite and fucking,
right.
You know,
at the same time, like with the original trilogy, Lucas never really knew if the Empire was going to get made. Like, especially like in the very beginning, as he was filming A New Hope, he had no fucking clue this was going to turn into the phenomenon that it ended up being. So, you know, he had to kind of do a lot of this shit on the fly. So the prequels, like you mentioned, it's very clear that it was planned out from the beginning to end, because at that point, Lucas had a blank check and he could just fucking do whatever he wanted. So the prequels was kind of a slow build, but it eventually, you know.
And the prequels were breaking ground in the technology and everything else too. Like, Lucas had a vested interest in seeing that the prequels, all the technology, the animation, all the CGI, you know, CGI was in its usage at that point in time was still in its infancy. Yeah. And he did. It was a completely different fucking movie. So if you want to get like, my cousin, if you're going to get angry at some point in the movie, that's silly. It's silly to get to, you know, I'm as passionate as anybody about shit, but at some point I guess maybe age is. I've had some benefit at age,
Yeah.
where I have to look at it and go like this, whether you liked it or not. And I was this way with the prequels too. What have I been? I've been a prequels apologist, right?
Yep.
So at some point, this is Star Wars. This is what we have, and it's still my favorite thing in the world, even allegedly at its worst. And Star Wars right now at its worst until we get to these Clone Wars episodes we're about to talk about.
Oh god.
You know, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion point. But from a movie standpoint, let's bring it back. This whole conversation was started about John Williams, right?
Right, and the Maestro's finale.
Right, and so watch the Maestro's finale. Get the soundtrack, listen to it, rub your tits on it, dude. Just fucking enjoy it for what it is.
Send me a picture while you're doing that.
You don't want to see my tits on any of that. Yeah, just oh my god. Hey, Big Swede made it. Sweet Studios.
Cool. So, all right, let's pivot back to the Maestro's finale for a second, because I had a whole bunch of notes I wanted to kind of go over.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, like, John Williams really does look and sound really old in this. Like, I hate to admit it. Yeah, he's got, what is he, 88, 89 now, something like that. But you really get that feeling as he's doing this. But at the same time, you really get that feeling that he's very passionate about this music that he creates. And he's very passionate about this universe, the Star Wars universe. He's very invested in it. And
get closer to the mic.
He has nothing but fucking love for this franchise. Like, you know, he talks about it being an honor and a privilege that he gets to compose this music for 9 fucking movies, which most people in his profession don't get the opportunity to do. So he's very grateful, and quite frankly, by the end of this, he just comes off as just such a wonderful, genuine man at the end of all this. No matter what, you would think anybody involved in the fucking film industry, be it an actor, director, producer, you'd think that they've all got a level of fucking ego and fucking pompousism to them that it's just ugh, I don't even want to look or listen to you right now. But John Williams, he seems just like a truly down-to-earth, just genuine human being.
If John Williams took puppies and kittens and ground them into paste and fed them to other puppies and kittens and then killed them and just buried them in his basement just because he enjoyed it, I'd still love this music. It transcends the fact that me as a listener can listen to 9 movies worth of soundtrack and have the same core elements, each have its own flavor, but still have core elements, and know that when I hear this character, that this character's theme, when this person comes back in, that theme is going to meld in, and there's going to be the artistic ways of bringing themes in and out of it, and the way that he is able to allow you as the movie watcher to put yourself mentally back into a position where it's oh, this is this character from this time. Because that's one of the fucking crazy parts. The stuff with Leia's theme, right?
Oh yeah.
I can hear it when I'm listening. I can hear when John Williams is trying to tell me to fucking, all right, this is present day older Leia. Oh no, this is a callback to young Leia. You know, the beginning of the rebellion Leia. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like when I'm listening to it when it's in its appropriate syntax or whatever, that I'm getting it. This is what he wants me to hear. This is what he wants me to envision. You know, and I'm never going to get that again. There's not going to be a movie franchise that's going to come out, and I mean, I'm too old at this point anyway, probably to get that level of investment into some other movie franchise. But it's I'll tell you, who you waving at?
Don't worry about it.
We're waving. Jason's obviously out of something. Oh, it's his water bottle, I'll bet. Yeah, see, I called it. Yeah, because he probably drank through his white wine, so now he's got to drink some water. Yeah, all right. Yep, all done. Finish his white wine. Anyway, fuck. I'm too sick to get thrown off, Jason.
Sorry. Well, no, the layup part was actually really good because, they had Mark Hamill in the recording studio during this whole documentary portion. They had him, Kathleen Kennedy, some of the other cast, JJ, and they really focused on, despite the fact that Carrie Fisher is gone, we're still honoring her with the Leia theme and how we're going to wrap it into some portions of this movie. And it was really emotional. You could tell, like, Mark Hamill, Kathleen Kennedy, a couple of these people are like damn near close to tears.
Yeah,
as they were listening to him compose like the new version of the Leia theme and everything.
Listen, and if Mark Hamill wasn't already a national treasure just from the way that he just following him on social media and watching him troll other people, but for him, I got the impression. Again, I watched this one time only. Because I don't need to, like, this guy doesn't need to be pulled to tears that often, right? So I watched this thing one time.
Yeah.
And I'll probably watch it again, I mean, honestly. But
you should. It's good.
It's the fact that Mark Hamill is off to the side and you could see it. Like, in certain areas, you could see where Hamill was just, he's been through all this, and just one thing that we kind of is probably a little bit underrated is how much Mark Hamill has been involved in these movies, not just from his on-screen appearances, but he's been there. He's been there on the sides, and he was the beginning, like the original, the OG Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
And to see that genuine emotion from him, who could very easily have just phoned it in and be like, oh yeah, I'm here because it's the last thing, blah, 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 blah. I mean, Harrison wasn't there,
right.
But Mark Hamill's a fan. He's a fan. He's a fan of this character. He's a fan. He knows that this is what's been buttering his bread for fucking 40 years. So,
right.
and he enjoys it, and he really knows, he understands, he gets it.
And if you want a better feeling for how he feels about the character of Luke Skywalker, watch that Skywalker Legacy extra on the Blu-rays. They go into the whole character of Luke throughout the saga, and Mark Hamill gives his feelings on the character and his entire arc all the way up through and including episode 9. Really, really good stuff. I won't spoil it here, but yeah, he has just a really good take on the character of Luke in general, and it's so good.
Yeah, I'll have to tune it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So something else I wanted to bring up. We talked about how JJ had reservations about reusing the Yoda theme note for note when Luke was lifting the X-Wing up. So part of that collaboration process is JJ came up with an idea that John Williams initially had reservations about, and that was the retooling of the Kylo Ren theme. Because the Kylo Ren thing was that do 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 do, and JJ wanted a.
Thank God it didn't sound anything like that.
JJ wanted a more heroic, like upbeat version of that same theme, and John Williams is like, well, fuck, can I even do that? I don't know, but he reharmonized the whole thing, and it sounded brilliant at the end of Rise of Skywalker. So
yeah, that entire transition from Kylo Ren back to Ben, is something that I didn't even really think about that piece of music until I watched this, and then realized, like a lot of things in this movie, where like, oh fuck, they're probably the reason that I bought into this more. Not only just besides Adam Driver's portrayal, like he does like physical characteristics, and he changes himself to portray somebody that's been through a mental and physical change, right? But the music behind it just kind of it pushes it there. It's like, hey, if you had any doubts here, listen, what you're listening to in the background is going to cement it for you.
Yeah. He also talked about the evolution of the Rey theme. there was a scene where he was playing the original theme of Rey for Daisy Ridley back in 2015. He was playing it on the piano for her, and she was hearing it for the first time. And then he talks about the evolution of that theme from Force Awakens to Last Jedi to eventually where it was much more orchestral in Rise of Skywalker. It was kind of mirroring Daisy Ridley's progression from basically coming into this as a child to an adult in Rise
Mhm.
of Skywalker. It was very childlike, that first theme in Force Awakens, and then it was very just big and grandiose and adult like in Rise of Skywalker.
Speaking of child, we shared it on the Facebooks and everything else, but Daisy Ridley reading that BB-8 book.
Yeah, that's great.
Everybody watch that. Like, I don't know. It makes me happy.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the actors. They've been doing it. They've been doing it all week, I think, where different actors were reading different books.
And
They're different Star Wars books for kids. It's been fun.
And that's good because, like, honestly, like, I had this feeling that Daisy Ridley was going to try to distance herself from Star Wars following this movie. Like, especially after, like, what we talked about earlier, like her doing these interviews where she talks about, like, not being happy with the fan response to Rise of Skywalker and all that. But like, I really had this feeling that she was going to start, just kind of like giving Star Wars the Heisman and trying to, expand her acting career and everything else. And she was going to be more of a Harrison Ford when it comes to Star Wars. But it's good to see she's still embracing this at least a little bit.
Do you think there's probably a whole podcast worth of conversation about this? But where do you think? Just to say it on the air, so we can put a pin in it. Where do you think that these actors go from here? Do one of them have a Harrison Ford like career ahead of them?
I mean, honestly, if I had to pick anybody, I'd say Daisy probably has the most
Yeah.
Harrison Ford like career. Yeah, potentially Oscar Isaac. Like, I haven't seen John Boyega in anything else, so
John Boyega has actually probably been in more things post like Force Awakens since TFA came out.
Yeah.
Like Oscar Isaac was already in a bunch of things.
Right.
So it's, I don't know. It's tough to say. But like a Harrison Ford like career, I don't think is in the cards for any of them, to be honest.
I mean, that's rare in and of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, for any actor in Hollywood, regardless of what franchise you've been part of.
Yeah, it's
Harrison Ford was an amalgam. He was.
Well, he also had the benefit of like, okay, here you're in this movie. I'm putting you in this movie, and oh, by the way, my best friend is fucking Steven Spielberg.
Right.
And he needs somebody to fucking play the hero. In this part, needed some rugged guy. Hey, here's your guy right here. And then fucking Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones for however many movies he's Indiana Jones. Like, that's what actors that we know that aren't fucking gray haired and or dead that we can say that about, that like they have major fucking franchises, major successful franchises where you are that guy. Not even James Bond can do that. And I know you've never seen a Bond movie, which still to this day I can't get over. But there's been several James Bonds, that debate of which one's the best Bond. You're never going to have that with fucking Han Solo. Right. He's been portrayed by one other person in a movie, and it
did not go.
I don't know. Yeah, and it was a necessity.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's fucking amazing. And again, I have lost my train of thought.
So yeah, going back to
through what Lunar Girl talked about, the sinus infection fog.
Oh, the fact that you sound like you're in a fog.
Probably sound like it as well.
Yeah. Honestly, I think we've pretty much covered every one of my notes for the Maestro's finale. It was
the sinus brain fog.
It was fucking honestly. Like, if you haven't watched this extra on the Rise of Skywalker, do it, man. It's so good. And it, like I said, it damn near brought me to tears on multiple occasions. knowing that this is the last thing that John Williams is going to compose for Star Wars. Could
Yeah.
be one of the last things he ever does ever. I don't know what else he's like contractually tied to at this point, but
I don't know.
you watch this thing, man, and he does not look
He,
he does
he,
not
look,
look very spry. I'll just say that.
he looks like an older gentleman that is ready to just enjoy the rest of his life.
Yeah, as he
And
should.
if that means he makes music for other movies, then we're better for it.
And that's the thing, because watching this, I get the feeling that he truly loves what he does. Composing music, performing music, I really feel like that is his passion. It's not his job, it's not his hobby, it's his passion. It's what he loves. And the fact that he's been able to do this for his whole fucking life, like I'm envious, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
love
who gets
the
to
fact
say that?
that he gets to do this.
And the fact that I've said it before, and I will say it every time that it comes up, that this is our Mozart. This is our Sebastian Bach.
Beethoven.
This is our Beethoven. This is what we are in our generation. This is the composer. This is the guy who's making music that people are going to listen to hundreds of years from now.
Yep.
And the Star Wars itself may play itself out and it'd be an older classic movie, this series, and something that's in the history books. But the music, this is the kind of music that once pressed in vinyl and kept forever is something that people are going to listen to and be like, wow, this tells an amazing story.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yep, indeed. So before we get into the, oh man, just the super exciting, like edge of your seat, fucking 2 recent episodes of the Clone Wars.
Oh, I was going to say I'm obviously was not watching what you're just getting ready to describe.
Well, before we get into this, we do need to take a very quick break and be right back after this word from our sponsors.
I hope you can hear my eyes rolling.
All right, I'll be right back. Wait,
He didn't even,
gotta make it official.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he didn't even hold up the sign. There he goes.
There we go.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what to do about Jason's sound. I don't know if it's we may have to take that foam off and put the regular pop filter back on it. We did discover something on the mixer that may have been causing his sound to be a little, why his sound was dropping off. So we think we fixed that, and it's new hardware. So it's going to sound different, but I'm hearing it for the first time like you guys are. So yeah, we'll figure it out. Plus there's only one microphone on, and we sit so close together. I mean, legitimately, it's probably less than 4 feet the microphones are from each other. So just because of their proximity, some of my voice is going to get picked up in Jason's, and Jason's going to get picked up in mine. So there's probably just a little lack of that stereophonic sound, I guess. I don't know. I'm more of a sound guy in waveform. So if you show me stuff in waveform, I'm better able to troubleshoot that. The extraterrestrial of what actually supposed to sound good. I don't know. We'll work on it. Yeah, there's no ability to wash your hands when you're peeing on the side of a building. I mean, it just doesn't happen. I know there is some hand sanitizer in the studio, which we'll see if Jason uses that. Yep, there it is. Shake twice, but not more than twice, because you know what that means. That's how Jason gets his arms bigger.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Well, I was talking about your sound, because it's definitely very it's not consistent. So I think what we have to do is get that foam off, put the regular pop filter back on.
I can do that really quick.
Okay. What? What? Ma, the meatloaf.
Doing it live.
It's the same bottle of what? Oh, the dollar store. The dollar store bottle of hand sanitizer. We actually, my wife just picked up this bottle of natural aloe stuff, and it apparently she's gonna mix it with alcohol, and it's supposed to make hand sanitizer. So we'll see about that. Yeah, Nick, that's what we're working on now to see what we can. It's a new mic, so we're trying to figure out what exactly is going to work sound wise. Jason, yeah, yeah, we need new arms. We need new mic arms. watching monkey fuck a football. And Bronco Fett, Jason probably is in like at least his PJ bottoms. Oh God, all right, he's still finger fucking this thing. Jesus. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Refilling it from the jug you have at work. I haven't been in work. I'm mission essential. However, we've managed to make our operations completely remote. So
Okay. How do I sound now? Hello.
Sounds better.
Better? All right. Cool. Well, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go.
This is the way?
This is the way.
All right.
I tend to agree with Nick and others that have mentioned it, that it sounds like you're talking into a pillow. So I think that foam was just too much.
Yeah.
But the other thing is we want to turn on the other microphone because, potentially because the microphone's so close together that you're picking you're usually picking up each other's voices in the other thing, which is going to make it sound different when it's only one mic hooked up.
I mean, I guess I could. All right. I mean, your mic is now on. I don't know if this is going to make any difference.
It does, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, fucking hell. All right.
It's actually a lot louder. Is there a foam thing on the other microphone, or is it just open?
It's still your old microphone setup.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely way louder.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Okay. All right, man. Fuck it. This is how we roll. So, we ready to get back into it?
Sure.
All right. 30 seconds of silence starting now. And we're back. So we've been dealing with all kinds of fucking audio issues. We got new microphones in the studio. We're doing remote recordings. So all kinds of weird shit. Apparently I sound better now than I did in the beginning of the episode. Maybe? I don't fucking know. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah. I think you're definitely louder. I think that there's some... Because the other microphone is my old microphone and you're still talking into the new microphone, I think your voice is being picked up from the other mic a little bit louder since you turn that on. So there's some suggestions in the chat talking about some settings that's on the mixer itself. So we can look into that. Listen, folks, with new equipment, there's definitely some ringing out. I don't expect the sound. I want the sound to sound better. Sometimes different doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
So it's a work in progress. And you know what? It might as well have the sound like shit because we're talking about 2 shitty Clone Wars episodes.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because
hey, listen, you just got a lot louder. Did you just turn the power on to that microphone?
I just unplugged it and plugged it back in. I reseated the Canon plug, as we do in maintenance.
And it sounds great right now.
Yeah, so it was the same fucking thing that's happened over the years or over the last like several months where my fucking microphone cuts out. Brand new fucking microphone, brand new fucking cable. It's the mixer.
It's
the mixer is dropping out. So,
so it sounds good right now. So let's, as I said, we'll get this, we'll get it worked out. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think that mixer's got to go. That's the only common denominator at this point. So
yeah, I agree. Well, let's make sure we sell it to somebody at market value that doesn't listen to fucking Star Wars podcasts.
Right. Exactly. So, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, a great way to waste 2 hours of your fucking life.
It wasn't 2 hours. It was an hour.
I'm talking the 4 most recent episodes because we already talked about episodes 5 and 6. Now we're talking about 6 and 7. Dude, we already mentioned this last episode. Why are we watching this shit with these annoying fucking sisters and Ahsoka doing fucking nothing? This most recent episode, episode 7, started with them in this fucking jail cell. Do you know what it ended? With them in the fucking jail cell. Nothing happened.
Can I, since I typed out this whole narration, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Go ahead.
Prisoners of the Pikes. Ahsoka Tano has teamed up with the Martez sisters who live in the underworld of the city planet Coruscant. Struggling to make ends meet, Rafa Martez scored a job running a spice shipment from the planet Kessel. Tempers flare when Ahsoka realized the spice was being sold to the Pikes, a powerful crime syndicate, as opposed to anybody else. As Ahsoka and Rafa argued, Trace Martez dumped the spice, hoping to end the dispute. With no shipment to deliver, the 3 attempted to deceive the Pikes and failed. We now find them in prison deep within the fortress on the planet Obadiah. There is literally, aside from one bump of a Mandalorian in the middle of this, there is nothing to be gained from this episode. Ahsoka uses her Force abilities all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Right. In the next crawl, when we start talking about that, it's actually in the fucking narration where it talks about whether she's deciding whether to reveal herself. She's using this shit all the fucking time. Like there's no like she's hiding herself from the fucking Force. Like a Mandalorian recognized her straight away because how many fucking Togrutas are there?
Right.
You know,
they mentioned that in the Ahsoka book too. Like Togrutas are not that, you know, popular around the galaxy. They're not that well seen. So seeing a Togruta in the wild is pretty fucking rare.
Yeah, and you're going to recognize one. I hate the fact that I feel like we were justified with not watching the Clone Wars like we did, because if we were watching it real time like we are now, we probably would be just as frustrated.
Right.
What I'm hoping is that both for episode 7, I don't have anything to say about episode 7. I got nothing.
There's nothing to say. Nothing fucking happened. Like, this is the epitome of filler content. The 7th episode. It started in one place, ended in the exact same fucking place. Nothing fucking happened. At all.
And this, well, okay, there was one thing that was probably just a little bit, if for nothing else, it brought out it fleshed out something in the particular plot line we're sitting through now. And that's the why the sisters like feel that some kind of way towards the Jedi, like them specifically, not just a generalized like they're them up there, we're down here, they don't give a shit about us. It was just how it started. Now it's like, oh, this particular incident where there was an interaction with a Jedi after this fucking speeder crash that killed their parents. Okay, all right, I get that.
Sure.
And they were describing beautiful green skin. Who are we talking about? Which Jedi are we talking about?
The green skin?
Right. The Jedi that came in and talked to Rafa and actually said, like, the Force will be with you or some bullshit like that.
Either Twi'leks or the Miraculin, whatever the, like...
I don't think it was Mira.
Yeah, Ahsoka's friend that betrayed her, the fucking green skin people with the tattoos on their face.
Yeah, I don't think it was her. I think I can't think of the name of the... I meant to look this up, but I've lost it. Somebody will know.
But either way, it's a very small portion of these fucking episodes. Like very forgettable at this point. Oh, okay.
And but
well,
even
who's the Twi'lek?
Right. But I think that the point of that is what they're trying to do is they're trying to make a statement about why, like, there's all this collateral damage from the Jedi chasing down this criminal, right? And there's all this collateral damage, and nobody's down there like helping the fucking victims. They go back to whatever it is that they're doing, and sure. I think if they just focused on portraying that part of the story,
yes, I agree.
Then there probably would bear some fruit. But instead, it's just okay, I get it.
Yeah, that was an by the way reference, and then they immediately moved on to more stupid bullshit. And all right, okay, I'm not being insensitive here. I know what Disney...
Whenever you start saying something like that, it's going to be bad.
I get what Disney's doing here with these episodes. I'm not fucking stupid. I'm not fucking stupid. I read the news. I pay attention to what the fucking agendas are of the people in the country are right now.
Right.
They thought, oh, this would be great. We're going to have these two female characters. They're going to be Hispanic. It's going to be, it's going to be this great fucking diverse thing that we're going to do. We're going to showcase these strong female characters who are also women of color and everything else. It's whatever. If you want to do that, fucking do it. Don't make it a shitty fucking story. Okay? Like, the fact that you're like putting on this huge display, like, oh, look, women, strong women of color. Okay, that's fucking great. But if the story is fucking dog shit, it's gonna be dog shit. Okay? If you're gonna fucking do all this liberal, progressive fucking bullshit, at least make it fucking good. And that's something that the left have not fucking figured out up to this point. Okay? They're just like, oh, look at us, we're so fucking progressive. Give me a good fucking story instead of fucking 22 minutes. It's a waste of my fucking life because nothing fucking happened in this episode. Like, seriously, I was on my phone for 90% of episode 7 of this fucking series. Like, honestly, I was going through my fucking Instagram and my fucking Facebook feeds. This was so fucking boring, so fucking pointless. It was a waste of my goddamn time, quite frankly.
I can't argue any of those points. Excuse me. I think that these episodes weren't even meant to highlight that. Just the fact that the characters existed would highlight it enough. And then, like you said, if you put them in a good story that's going to be memorable, like years from now, when we're talking about Clone Wars, we're never going to be talking about the Martez sisters. No. Unless something happens later. But I have a feeling the Martez sisters are bye-bye. Like, as soon as we go into episode 8 and we start talking about who we see in that, and like episode 7 is the pile of dog shit that you step in before you get to episode 8 when you start hitting the fucking doormat to brush off the dog shit.
Right.
That we're going to hopefully step into some glorious palace of episode 9. And how many episodes of this fucking season are there?
There's 12. So we are already 2/3 of the way through this fucking season, and nothing has happened.
3 left. 3 fucking episodes left.
4.
And they four episodes left. If it doesn't involve some fucking equation like this, I don't know how to do math anymore. Like, if there's not a fucking cosine and some fucking squiggly line in it, I can't help you. But, papers. Yeah, this is... they wasted so much time to get here. They wasted everyone's time.
Yeah.
And they had episodes that they wanted to put out, and fucking they did. They did. Ha ha ha! Fooled you. Like, we had shit that, like, we wanted to get episode or season 7 out so that we could tell the story of Ahsoka and Mandalore and all that other stuff. But we're gonna make you sit through a bunch of bullshit in the beginning to get there.
Yeah.
Oh no! By the way, we're gonna sell Disney Plus so that you'll watch this exclusively on Disney Plus, and we're just going to fucking make you continue to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. So yeah, basically episode 7, nothing fucking happened for the most part. So let's move right on to episode 8.
Prisoners in Peril. Period. No exclamation point. Prisoners in Peril. Former Jedi apprentice Ahsoka Tano befriended 2 sisters, Trace and Rafa Martez, who grew up in the underworld of Coruscant. After learning that the sisters blamed Jedi Knights for the death of their parents, Ahsoka must decide if she's willing to reveal her Jedi past and use her skills to aid in their escape. I'm going to come back to that.
Okay.
Fearing her new friends will be betrayed by this revelation, Ahsoka is left with a difficult choice, as we all were, as to choosing to continue to watch the fucking tripe.
Yeah.
No, my thing is, like, they actually, she says when they're in the jail cell, and that the whole thing about the death of her parents being revealed, she says, or basically says, what are you, a Jedi? It's like, well, what if I am? Like, yeah. Okay, you're basically telling them that you're a Jedi.
Right.
But they're going to ignore it because they're not ready to tell that part of the story yet. So they're just going to go ahead and gloss over that. Like, and then she's going to jump like insanely high and far, and they're going to be like, well, that's extraordinary. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh God, this part, like the beginning of this, when I had to like type out the fucking narration, and I'm going, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Even this part of it's starting to fucking fall apart. Mm-hmm. When they're describing something that she obviously fucking is already doing. She's already telling them that she's a goddamn Jedi. She's been telegraphing it the entire fucking time. She's being recognized in the fucking streets of this Addis Ababa or whatever. Oh, that's a real place. Never mind. Obadiah. So yeah, what the? You know what? You know why I made the Addis Ababa correlation?
Why?
You ever been there? Ethiopia, capital Ethiopia.
I don't think I've ever been there. No.
So yeah, there's an incident that when we were walking through the streets of Addis Ababa, we had just gone to see Lucy. You know, the first primate skeleton, you know, or human skeleton, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, very underwhelming, to be honest. You get more out of fucking National Geographic than you would actually standing there in front of it. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of there, we were followed. We were being followed. There was a group of us, white people, in the middle of Ethiopia.
You kind of stick out.
We stuck out like a Togruta on this fucking Obadiah planet. That's what it was. Picture a bunch of white people standing in the middle of fucking the capital Ethiopia. You're gonna stand out.
Yep.
It's gonna be really, really tough to fucking hide it. So yeah. Anyway.
Is that it?
That was it. Again, like, look, my train of thought is only stopping halfway to the station.
Right. And
getting there.
And you talk about like the whole logic thing, like logic is completely out the window in this fucking episode because the head of this fucking criminal gang with the spice and all that, they bring Ahsoka and her 2 sisters back and they're like, you better give me my spice or, it's going to be bad. And then that's when Ahsoka's like, they're going to go get the spice and I'll stay here. And it's And he's just like, okay, go get the spice, and then you come right back, or I'm gonna like kill her. Like,
And
no logic whatsoever behind any of this.
I think their logic is there for this episode, that if you ignore the previous episodes and just watch this one, like this is one of those times where like, okay, if you're going to watch Clone Wars for season 7, start watching it at fucking episode 8 and start it about halfway, because that logic, when you start getting the sense that the Pikes have to answer to somebody, they're the biggest. Initially, they're the biggest people on the planet, right? They're biggest, baddest, right? They're badasses. But the reality is that they have to answer to somebody too, as part of this bigger plan that we all want and know is coming. So I think in context that what we're getting now makes a little bit more sense, where, all right, Ahsoka's going to make a power play, right? They're going to go find a spice because motherfucker, he needs them to find some fucking spice. Otherwise, his ass is grass. So he's like, okay. And then the dialogue with his underling, which I think this is something I wanted to mention too. The Pikes, that we've talked about the animation, like of the Clone Wars, and how it's kind of matriculated into what it is now. How the scenery and the way this species that the Pikes are, how they're drawn and everything, I was really impressed with it.
Oh yeah, this has been the whole season. The animation is fucking great.
Yeah, I was
just wasted on shit stories.
Agreed. I'm staring at the animation much more than I'm paying attention to the story.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, when it's like, all right, Ahsoka's making a move, and it's the fucking Keystone Cops, right? They don't understand, like, how did they break out the first time? Oh, I don't know. All right, well, let's put them back in the same fucking cell.
All together, by the way.
All together. And they can't possibly get out again, could they? Wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, for 2 humans, like, shaved head, apparently to survive, like, brutal torture, you need to fucking shave half your head and pretend to be Hispanic.
Right. Yeah. Oh, God. I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, so they fucking let the sisters go, which they could have just gone back to fucking Coruscant and just like continue with their fucking lives. And the older sister, who, by the way, so the younger sister, Trace, I think her name is.
Yes.
Not a terrible character. Like, I actually don't dislike her character.
Okay.
The older sister, no fucking redeemable qualities, no likability whatsoever. If she fucking died the most horrible death, I'd be like, yeah, I'm good with that. So that's
I'll play devil's advocate on that. I don't think she was meant to be likable. I think she was meant to be a scoundrel.
Right, but at the same time, like, they made her so unlikable that I actually wanted her to fucking die.
Yeah.
And, if you do that with your characters that you're supposed to be eventually, like, making this arc with, you're wasting 4 fucking episodes on these fucking characters. You would think that you'd, like better produce an arc for them to if nothing else, be redeemed or whatnot. But no, by the end of this episode 8, I still wanted her to fucking die. I fucking hated her. Trace, she was just kind of there. She wasn't terrible. She wasn't the worst character in the world. A friend to Ahsoka. Nah, that's cool. The fucking sister, like, I don't even remember her name. And quite frankly, I don't fucking care. I just want her to die. I hope she never shows up again. I'll never fucking watch these episodes ever again. They were such a waste of my fucking time.
Honestly, there's no reason to. Oh, no.
Yeah, and I mean, really, this was all just a setup for the Darth Maul cameo that we got, which was pretty cool, which is very similar to his appearance in Solo.
Right.
And then the Mandalorians making their little appearance, which was, by the way, Bo-Katan, the sister of Obi-Wan's girlfriend. Yeah, right. Bo-Katan. So she was the Mandalorian who was part of the Night Owls and eventually part of the Death Watch, which was that like Mandalorian terrorist kind of group.
Right.
Which we kind of got into that in some of the episodes of the Clone Wars, but again, because we're not big Clone Wars people, like for me at least, I don't know about you, Dave, but when I saw her, I'm like, yeah, okay. I kind of remember her.
I not only remembered her, but that's That's what I wanted. I wanted to see her.
Right.
I didn't want to see any other Mandalorian. Like, we needed to have some sort of connection from that part of the previous episodes of the Clone Wars. That emotionally gripping, like, I'm going to kill the fucking the love of Obi-Wan Kenobi's life in front of his very eyes. And this is her sister. Yes, this is exactly the person that needs to be run into this, and it needs to be a pivotal part of, okay, we happen to run into Ahsoka Tano. Let's fucking bring her over to our side. We have a common enemy, and this is exactly what we needed. We needed this fucking 7 episodes ago.
Right.
This is going to be one of those where we're going to get to the end of it and going, like, they could have made 3 or 4 more episodes with the content that they could have had. The fucking Siege of Mandalore? Are you fucking kidding me? We're not going to spend. I want to spend days watching that. I don't want it to be the end of a forgotten fucking like, excuse you series that. Not that the whole Clone Wars. I'm talking about like this particular season.
Yeah,
like, okay, we had. They fucking got a stay of execution. They fucking brought season 7, gave it back to them to be able to use, and they wasted it. They wasted it. And it wasn't a timing thing. They had plenty of fucking time. I don't want to hear that bullshit. It's not because, like, I think people really enjoy the ARC Trooper fucking thing. Tevin, no offense, but I fucking hated that Rambo fucking the expendable. Or what are the Expendables? The fucking
I liked it, but that was just
fuck. I don't need that. I didn't need it. There's enough campiness with how the fucking hey, if you wanted to have that level of fucking just grossly exaggerated interaction, save it for the fucking for the clankers, and their stupid antics. Save it for that. We didn't need to see that shit, honestly. But whatever. I think that. What we are seeing, though, and I pray on this Easter Sunday that this is the resurrection of this fucking series, this season rather. I keep wanting to say series because the Clone Wars are going to stand on their own by themselves for the good stuff that they brought to the canon. We're only going to remember the good stuff. We're not going to remember the Martez sisters. Not going to any of that bullshit. What we're going to remember is what we're going to see from here. We're going to remember the Siege of Mandalore. We're going to remember what happened, to the Mandalorians. What happened to fucking Obi-Wan, and those type of things, and the Darth Maul arc. All that stuff is what we're going to remember from the Clone Wars. All the shit that we had to get to lead up to this point is forgettable.
Yeah, and it's just a shame that they've wasted so much of the season on nothing. Like, really just very forgettable episodes, things that I'm never going to revisit, things I know you're never going to revisit. Even hardcore Clone Wars fans like Big Swede, a couple other people that are in the chat that were big fans of the Clone Wars, even they agree that some of these episodes are fucking boring and they're kind of pointless.
In context to if this was linear to where season 6 was, honestly, even from having watched season 6, the last 3 episodes of season 6, because I mistakenly watched them. There's no lead into anything that we've seen so far. Right. So it's like, it's not even like a linear progression to something that was starting in season 6. This is just, hey, you had a fresh slate to start. You sold us a bill of goods. You sold us this Order 66 fucking dark, just intensity. And what we've got so far doesn't even come close to that. Yeah, I mean, even if you enjoyed the ARC Trooper, the Bad Batch and all that other shit, even if you enjoyed that, it doesn't have the dark intensity that I think most of us were expecting.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the hope is they stick the landing, right?
Right.
We had a really bumpy middle ground, and they're gonna this whole Siege of Mandalore and the lead into Revenge of the Sith. They're gonna stick it, but fuck, man, like so far up to this point, very disappointing from our perspective, and really from people who are hardcore Clone Wars fans. too. Like,
yeah,
everybody across the board has been pretty disappointed with this.
Yep. But the animation's been great.
Yeah.
I will watch. I will watch. I will watch on Friday. This upcoming.
Oh yeah, me too.
I am anticipating something that's going to be. I'm looking forward to what's coming up. Regardless of these other episodes, I think that I'm still waiting for the payoff. I'm still waiting for that payoff that they sold me when they put that trailer out.
Yeah.
So, and I'm anticipating that happening.
Yeah, that was like what, 2 celebrations ago? Which, by the way, we haven't talked about, but I know we were supposed to have another Star Wars celebration this year. I don't know if that's going to happen at this point.
I don't think
at least not in the way that they've been happening up to this point, because I know there have been a lot of other annual conventions that have been either postponed or canceled, or they're going to do something different because of COVID-19.
Listen, the as we come back and close out the Clone Wars shit with some more COVID-19 stuff, I think I don't think you're going to see anything normal probably till the football season. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a football fan. I just think that that's where things are going to be able to pick up. I think you're going to have all through Dave Martin's opinion, however educated it may be, anything that's going to happen up until August or September 1st, I wouldn't expect it. Public gatherings, shit like that. There's still going to be some level of social distancing that's going to happen. Right. The preseason games for football will probably be televised but unattended until the regular season starts. That's what I anticipate.
Yeah. Rip XFL, by the way. So
fuck that. Oh my god.
Nah, they're done, man. They announced that they're
couldn't have happened to. I saw it. I saw the fucking announcement. Like, it's just there is a place for people. There's people that just love the game of football. And I can appreciate that. I'm a baseball guy. I've made my baseball analogies with football, but the reality is that football is the level of intensity and how much people get behind it. They want football all year round. That's something they want to get behind. Because there's very few games that you're going to watch in football that are going to be as boring as watching, 180 minutes of soccer or, even baseball. I know a lot of people are can't really do that. But, they're talking about it in the chat if the NFL 2020 is still happening. To me right now, that's probably that's when we're going to see the actual where we are if we maintain this through the summer. I think baseball's done, and I hate to say it. Like my life without baseball right now it's tough. It's tough to be going through the seasonal change and doing all this stuff. And when I want to be listening to it on the fucking radio and, having that in my life, and it's not happening. And it's depressing. It's very, very depressing. I can't see them doing anything with baseball, but I think football is still on the table because before you start getting into the major events where you have like the openers in that second week of September, I think we have time to get there. So I'm not putting a fork in that just yet, but everything else up until that point, up to and including baseball, I think we're done.
Yeah,
we're done. Hey, Tevin asks a great question in the chat. What are we doing after the Clone Wars?
That's a good point because of COVID-19 and other situations, Obi-Wan has been postponed. Right. Cassian has been postponed.
Thank God.
So that's a really good fucking point, quite frankly. I know we've got Thrawn in the fall, the next Thrawn book, the Thrawn Ascendancy. We've got the fucking the High Republic stuff. Like, we may have to go all in on the High Republic at this point because that may be the only thing we fucking have for quite a while, which that starts in August, I believe. which is novels, comics, novels and comics. So that may have to be our primary focus, and then just kind of getting caught up on some of the shit that we have lapsed on. Like I know Dave talked about the Equation Squadron that he read. We're still going to do Dark Disciple hopefully next week.
Yeah,
if I can get through the fucking audiobook.
Did you start it?
I started it. It started really good. I really love the concept of what they're doing with it, like the whole plot line. It's just fucking work. And the sidebar, you would think in an environment where your work is allowing you to telework and they're kind of giving you a little bit more freedom, that things would be a little bit better and you wouldn't be so fucking angry all the goddamn time. But no, they have to make things as fucking tedious and just fucking anger inducing as fucking possible, because it's your fucking job and they want you to be fucking miserable. So I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
We're talking about what we're going to do next, like Dark Disciple.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like I'd like to finish Dark Disciple, but because of
you will
shit with work, it's just, oh my God.
Listen,
and
put it on. I know you have a running playlist that you do, but you may have to put it on while you're working out. Maybe not running, but maybe when you're lifting or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a shorter one. You should be able to bang that out fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we got a lot of people bouncing out in the chat for Easter dinner,
which is good because we're winding down anyway.
Yep. So peace out to everyone who's doing that. Listen, we've got a lot of things that are in the world of novelization that are in the canon that we can cover.
Yeah.
And I think the timelines will work out where we get there. Unfortunately, with Celebration not happening, there's probably going to be very, very little new shit to talk about.
Yeah.
But we can start speculating, I think, with some of the High Republic stuff. There's fucking plenty of content to do.
And I think maybe let's save this. Let's put a pin in this for maybe next week. We can do this as one of our main discussion points. But the whole discussion that we've had offline about, is it worth it to do Legends material at this point? Canon versus Legends. Like, I think that could be a whole episode in itself, because we've had some offline discussions about this. Is it worth it to, still get back into the Legends material?
Well, listen, we've got 5 episodes until our 150th.
Yep.
Right. So while we have, I think we're going to have people joining us in our next StreamYard. How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we're going to. We still have to decide how that particular thing is going to work, but I'm fully on board with somebody selling us what our next thing should be. Like, what are you passionate about in Star Wars that we haven't talked about, and sell me on it so that I want to be as passionate, and I'll actually do some research into something that I may not know about. I know Bronco Fett would take that opportunity to talk about the Republic Commando.
Which I'd love to get into, but at this point, it begs the question: is it worth getting into something that's not canon?
Yeah, and we have enough canonical material right now that we don't necessarily have to go there. Especially with the New Republic stuff coming in. I think I mentioned it in one of the last pods, but I'll say it again. I only have so many penguins, and I want this High Republic era material, which is canonical, to be the stepping point for what Star Wars is going to be for me potentially going forward.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be big.
I hate to break my own heart on purpose by going into Legends storylines that are fucking fantastic. We know they are. Yeah. And go back into it. It's either that or we just say, you know what, this is going to be a fucking podcast about Legends material, and then we can talk about Legends material for the next 2 decades.
I mean, yeah, there's enough content. Don't get me wrong. Like, with all the sacred Jedi texts,
we could we could go on a run of however many episodes where we just ignore what's going on in canon and just talk about Legends material. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah.
I think we have enough subject matter expertise in that area that I'd be willing to delve into that for more than one episode. Like, if we're going to fucking do it, let's go fucking soup to nuts. Let's do the entire Vong fucking storyline.
Oh, I mean, that would be fucking fantastic.
All right.
But that's an investment. It's like we would have to give the Heisman to pretty much everything else and focus on that.
Yep.
So,
no, that's it. Throwing it out there, that's a possibility. My fucking chair started squeaking.
I can hear that.
Right? Yeah. What the fuck? Get my WD-40 out.
Oh, it's good shit.
Do some dad.
So, all right. I mean, that's pretty much the end of this episode. So next week, hopefully we can finish up Dark Disciple. Again, great fucking concept for the book. I've been noticing that the whole fucking episode, that reflection of Starkiller Studios in the background, which is brilliant. Like, you couldn't have planned that out better.
No, because I saw the reflection there. It's behind that. I know I'm derailing everything. Behind that is a picture of my puppers at the ocean. I'm like, huh. So while we were talking early in the episode, I was fucking dicking around and fucking brought it up and then inverted it so it would show up like that for the fucking the YouTube audience. So the little Starkiller Studios right here at the Martins.
Yep. And I got to say, in the chat, talking about the whole Legends material, it seems like everybody's kind of on board with going that route as opposed to focusing on canon. So we'll have to have that discussion. But either way, this is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for everybody joining us in the YouTube and in the chat and everything. It's we've got this good proof of concept. So when we start having more guests on the show, we know we can get you guys on through this whole new streaming and everything. And apologies for the audio issues too in the beginning of the episode, but we're still working at the kinks. Dave, anything else before we shut down?
Negative.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. And until next time, Dave and everyone else, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Clink.